Hey, real estate investors, welcome to another episode of the Landlords From Hell Show here on Holton-Wise TV. I am your host, James Wise. Behind the scenes, we got my main man, Tommy, bringing all of the action to you. In today's show, folks, this is a fucking doozy.
You were almost sort of convinced or like pulled into the Clayton Morris mentality trap, if you will.
Clayton, you're literally in Portugal, though. Like you see how that looks. You're actually in Portugal. So I mean, I think claiming it's bullshit when you've literally left America. That doesn't really make sense, does it?
I don't know how this is any of your business, to be honest with you. I really don't know how you've made my business your business. I see you in bigger pockets, blowing Todd Burton, hanging out in bigger pockets, and Jay Hinrichs. Like, you're hanging out with these guys, patting each other on the back and forth.
Just believed it. I mean, this is his own marketing. I mean, it's just everything that he would talk about was almost directionally opposite of what reality is in the field. You can't have hundreds of people that have lost, significant sums and some that have lost entire life savings or retirement accounts. I mean, and a lot of it is they paid for rehab that never got done. I mean, that's just out and out fraud.
So he's going to have to admit to one of them.
Yeah, he's an undisclosed principal. He's an undisclosed agent. I mean, there's all sorts of problems with his defense, and it'll go, in a deposition, it would just go, were you lying then or are you lying now? I mean, he has no way out of that.
Like, how is your life different today, having been through working with Clayton Morris and his company, Morris Invest? How has your life changed since you met him? Like, how do you live today versus how you thought you were going to be living out your retirement?
Well, before him, I lived in a $500,000 condo in Honolulu. I worked for a fabulous company, traveled all over the world. I was one of those people who couldn't tell you what the price of anything was because I didn't have to worry about the price of anything. If I wanted it, I bought it. Yeah, I lived 4 blocks off of Ala Moana Beach Park in Honolulu. If I wanted to fly to Europe to be with friends, I could fly to Europe to be with friends. I spent probably $6,000 a month. About $6,000 a month without even thinking about it. Still having plenty of money to save, so I'd have it ready to throw on a scam. Today, I live on less than $60 a day. And I live in Medellin, Colombia. Here I can live, my apartment here is under $18 a day. I spend about $5 a day on food here. I own a small amount of things. They're in a storage unit in Honolulu now. That's my biggest expense all year long, is that storage unit. So I no longer have a car. I sold all my jewelry. I sold my condo. I have less than $20,000 in the bank as an emergency fund. That's all that's left of that money that I saved back to keep me going while my investments were maturing. One reason I don't want to be on video today is I haven't had a haircut in ages because I can't afford to have a haircut. I've budgeted for a haircut at the end of the month when I'm back in the U.S.
That number is garbage, and there's another company in Indianapolis.
Well, that's the thing. That's the thing, Clayton. That's why I'm not understanding what you're doing. You're telling me here, bro, because he's on the record saying one thing. I have no evidence to prove that what he said is incorrect. You are apparently the only guy that has some type of evidence that proves that, but you don't want to talk about it. So I don't know what you want me to do.
If you're a documentary filmmaker, you go find it. I mean, this is what a journalist does. Are you a journalist, or what? I mean, what are you?
Well, I'm not your errand boy. I haven't found anything, and you're telling me I gotta go find it. I'm not your errand boy. That's not how this works.
Why don't you actually go meet with Jack Schechter and Jack Gibson in fucking Indianapolis, who ran high return real estate? They were there in the city. They had hundreds of properties from Oceanpointe. The exact same thing happened to them. They then had to move all of their properties over to Urban House, other property management companies who literally had hundreds of people. We've moved our properties over to Urban House. They're like, oh my God, we had hundreds from high return real estate that worked with Oceanpointe, got totally fucked by Oceanpointe. And their clients were in a shitstorm, way, way worse. And Urban House got flooded with properties from high return real estate.
You know, there were some that had squatters living in them that were, you know, that could not produce any lease, or couldn't verify or show that any records that they had been paying rent at all. There were certain properties that looked like they had just recently vacated. There was a mix that it's like nobody had ever lived there for a year. There were properties where, like the property I'm alluding to on Grand, the water had never even been turned on it had been turned on for years.
But yet there was an investor who was receiving rental income checks for that property the entire time.
Absolutely. We had lots of instances where water had not ever been turned on the property for the time period that the investor had been receiving rent checks.
And then some guys just walked away. In one case, I know a guy who bought a house for $76,000 or $77,000. And when we sold it, he ended up netting $17,000. He lost about $60,000.
Okay, that's tough. So like,
but let me tell you something else, James.
Okay.
In addition to all these distressed houses, they were building what they called new construction houses as well. And they were buying vacant city lots for $450 a piece, $450 to $500. And they were selling them for $68,500 with nothing more than a promise to build a home. No contract, nothing else other than a promise. They were closing, and they were closing getting paid $68,500, and there was no structure at all on the property. No contract to build it, nothing.
It's so convenient to focus on the Fox guy.